August 5th, 1962, 3:47 a.m., Los Angeles. Ambulance driver Walter Schaefer gripped the steering wheel as the call crackled through his radio. Code 3, drug overdose, 12-3 Oswald 5, 5th Helena Drive, Brentwood. Patient, Marilyn Monroe. His heart stopped. The Marilyn Monroe. But what Walter didn't know was that this call would haunt him for the next 60 years. Because when he arrived 42 minutes later, what he found wasn't an overdose victim waiting for help. It was a crime scene that had already been cleaned, a body that had already been moved, and a conspiracy that went all the way to the White House. This is the story Walter Schaefer kept secret until his deathbed in 2024, when he finally broke his silence with a confession that would shatter everything we thought we knew about Marilyn Monroe's death. August 5th, 1962, 3:05 a.m., Schaefer Brothers Ambulance Company, West Los Angeles. Walter Schaefer, 34 years old, was ending his shift when the emergency line rang. His partner, Murray Leibowitz, answered. "Schaefer Brothers, what's your emergency?" The voice on the other end was calm, too calm for a genuine emergency. "We need an ambulance at 1235 5th Helena Drive. Drug overdose, female patient unconscious, not breathing." Murray grabbed the address sheet. "Name of the patient?" There was a pause, then quietly, "Marilyn Monroe." Walter's coffee cup froze halfway to his mouth. Murray looked at him, eyes wide. "Did you just say Marilyn Monroe?" "That's correct. How quickly can you get here?" "We're 15 minutes away, sir. We're leaving now." But that's not what happened. Because as Walter would later confess, someone made sure their ambulance took a very different route that night. "Am." Inside the ambulance. Walter started the engine while Murray loaded equipment. "Walter, this is Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, we need to fly." Walter nodded, pulling onto Santa Monica Boulevard. The route was simple. Straight shot down Sunset Boulevard to Brentwood. 12 minutes, maximum. But 3 blocks from their station, a black sedan pulled in front of them. No license plate visible. "What the hell?" Walter muttered, hitting the horn. The sedan slowed down, deliberately. "Go around him," Murray shouted. Walter tried, but every time he attempted to pass, the sedan would drift into his lane, blocking him. "This guy's drunk or crazy," Walter said. But he wasn't drunk. He was following orders. "Hold up. You haven't seen the most shocking part yet?" Because that sedan wasn't the only thing delaying their arrival. 24 a.m. 16 minutes into what should have been a 12-minute drive. The black sedan suddenly turned off. Walter accelerated, but then his radio crackled again. A different voice this time. Official, authoritative. "Unit 7, this is Central Dispatch. We have a correction on that Brentwood address." Walter grabbed the radio. "What correction? We're almost there." "The address is 12358 5th Helena, not 12305. Repeat, 12358. Murray checked his notes. "That's not what they told us." "I'm reading from the updated call log, Unit 7. 12358 5th Helena Drive." Walter felt something was wrong. Deeply wrong. But he was trained to follow dispatch orders. He turned down a side street, heading for the corrected address. It took them another 8 minutes. When they arrived at 12358, it was a dark, empty house. No lights, no people, no emergency. "What the hell is this?" Murray jumped out, ran to the door, knocked. Nothing. Walter radioed back. "Central, there's nobody at 12358. The house is empty." Static, then. "Unit 7, disregard. Return to original address, 12305 5th Helena Drive." Walter's hands were shaking now. Someone's playing games with us. They had lost 26 minutes. 26 critical minutes. But here's where everything changes. Because when they finally reached Marilyn's house, they realized the delay had been deliberate. 47 m. 42 minutes after the initial call. Walter pulled up to a small Spanish-style house tucked behind trees. The lights were on. Several cars were parked outside. Too many cars for a simple overdose. "Something's not right," Murray said. They grabbed their equipment and ran to the door. It opened before they could knock. A woman stood there. Older, stern-faced. This was Eunice Murray, Marilyn's housekeeper. "You're the ambulance?" Her voice was strange, flat. "Yes, ma'am. We got here as fast as we could. Where's the patient?" Eunice didn't move. She just stared at them. "She's in the bedroom." "Is she breathing?" "No." "How long has she been unconscious?" Eunice hesitated, just for a second. But Walter noticed, "I found her about 15 minutes ago." That's when Walter knew she was lying. Because if Marilyn had been found 15 minutes ago, the call would have come at 3:32 a.m. But their call had come at 3:05 a.m. Don't miss this detail. Walter was already seeing evidence of a cover-up, and he hadn't even entered the bedroom yet. 49 a.m., Marilyn's bedroom. What Walter saw when he entered that room would haunt him forever. Marilyn Monroe lay face down on the bed, completely naked, one hand reaching for the telephone. She was clearly dead. Rigor mortis had already begun. But that wasn't what shocked Walter. It was everything else. The room was too clean, too organized. In genuine overdose cases, there's chaos, vomit, scattered pills, knocked over glasses. This room looked staged. The bed was neatly made around Marilyn's body. The pill bottles on the nightstand were lined up perfectly. There was no water glass. "How do you take 47 pills without water?" Walter whispered to Murray. Murray was checking Marilyn's body temperature. "Walter, she's cold. Not just dead. Cold. She's been gone for hours." A man appeared in the doorway. Suit and tie at 3:50 in the morning. "I'm Dr. Ralph Greenson, Miss Monroe's psychiatrist. I pronounced her dead at 3:30 a.m. Walter stood up. "Doctor, with respect, that's impossible. Rigor mortis takes 2 to 4 hours to set in. She's been dead much longer than 20 minutes. Dr. Greenson's face hardened. "Are you questioning my medical assessment?" "I'm questioning the timeline, sir." You're not going to believe what the doctor said next. 52 a.m. Still in the bedroom. Dr. Greenson stepped closer to Walter, lowering his voice. "Mr. Schaefer, I need you to understand something. This is not a regular case. This is Marilyn Monroe. The press will be here soon. Reporters, photographers, police. Your job is to transport the body. That's all." "But sir, this scene has already been processed by the appropriate authorities." "What authorities? We haven't seen any police." "You don't need to see them. They've already been here." Walter felt sick. "You're telling me police came, examined the scene, and left before the ambulance arrived?" "I'm telling you to do your job and keep your observations to yourself." Eunice Murray appeared behind the doctor. "Perhaps the ambulance should leave now. We'll make other arrangements for the body." Walter was confused. "You called us for an emergency transport." "The emergency has passed," Dr. Greenson said coldly. "Miss Monroe is deceased. We'll have the coroner retrieve the body." Murray pulled Walter aside. "Walt, something is seriously wrong here. We need to call this in." But before they could, 2 more men entered. Black suits, government type. No introduction. One of them spoke. "Thank you, gentlemen. We'll take it from here. You're free to go." Hold on. Walter was about to make a decision that would save his life, but haunt his conscience forever. them outside Marilyn's house. Walter and Murray loaded their unused equipment back into the ambulance. "We need to report this," Murray said. "Report what? That we think something's wrong? We have no proof." "The timeline, Walter. The cold body, the clean scene." "Listen to me." Walter grabbed his partner's arm. "Those men in there, they're not doctors. They're not LAPD. Did you see the way they moved? The way they spoke? That's federal." Murray went pale. "You think?" "I think Marilyn Monroe didn't die of an overdose. I think she was already dead when they called us. And I think they delayed us deliberately so they could stage the scene." "Why would they do that?" "Because whoever killed her is too powerful to be exposed." At that moment, one of the men in black suits walked out. He came straight to Walter. "Mr. Schaefer, I need you to understand something clearly." He pulled out a badge. "CIA. You responded to a call. You arrived. The patient was deceased. That's your entire report, nothing more. And if I see something different?" The man smiled. It wasn't friendly. "Then you might have an accident. Maybe your ambulance brakes fail. Maybe you have a heart attack. These things happen, especially to men who ask too many questions." Walter felt his blood turn cold. "I understand." "Good. Because we know where you live. We know where your wife works. We know your children's school." That was the moment Walter Schaefer decided to bury the truth for 62 years. But wait. What Walter saw in those 4 minutes inside Marilyn's house contained details that would prove, decades later, that her death was murder. Years later, in his deathbed confession, Walter detailed everything he observed in those critical minutes. The body position. Marilyn was face down, but her face wasn't pressed into the pillow. She was positioned carefully, as if placed there. In genuine overdoses, people collapse naturally. Marilyn looked arranged. The lividity, the dark purple discoloration of pooled blood was on her back and sides. But she was lying face down. That meant she'd been dead on her back for hours, then moved. The phone. Her hand was reaching for the telephone, but the phone cord was disconnected. Someone had staged her reaching for help that never came. The pills. 47. Nembutal pills allegedly consumed, but no residue in her mouth. No water glass. The pill bottles were too neatly arranged. The missing glass. Every overdose victim has a glass nearby. Marilyn's nightstand had no glass, no water pitcher, nothing. The locked door. Eunice claimed Marilyn's bedroom door was locked from inside. But when they entered, the door opened easily. No broken lock, no forced entry. Someone had unlocked it before they arrived. The extra cars. Walter counted 5 cars outside. For a woman who allegedly died alone, impossible. The cleanup. The carpet showed vacuum marks. Fresh vacuum marks. At 3:47 a.m. Who vacuums after finding a dead body? Don't miss this revelation, because Walter photographed something that night without anyone knowing. 15 m. Driving away from 5th Helena Drive. Walter's hands were still shaking. Murray was silent, processing everything. As they drove, Walter pulled out something from his pocket. A small Kodak Instamatic camera. He always kept it in the ambulance for documentation. "Walt, please tell me you didn't. I took one photo, just one, when everyone was in the hallway arguing. If they find out." "They won't." I hid the camera under my jacket. The photo showed Marilyn's nightstand. In the image, barely visible, was something the official crime scene photos wouldn't show. A drinking glass on the floor behind the bed. Not empty, still containing liquid. And next to it, a syringe. Walter had documented evidence that contradicted the official story. Pills weren't the cause of death. Injection was. But he couldn't tell anyone. Not with the CIA threatening his family. This is where everything changes. Because for 62 years, Walter Schaefer lived with this secret, until cancer gave him the courage to finally speak. August 1962, January 2024. For 6 decades, Walter kept his promise. He never spoke about that night. The official report stated, ambulance crew arrived at 3:47 a.m. Patient deceased, no transport necessary. Simple, clean, false, but the guilt ate at him. Every August 5th, Walter would drink alone, staring at that photograph. His wife, Margaret, knew something was wrong. Walt, what happened that night? You can tell me. I can't, Maggie. I can't. In 1997, when Princess Diana died in suspicious circumstances, Walter nearly broke. He called a reporter, but hung up before speaking. In 2009, when Marilyn documentaries claimed accidental overdose, Walter threw his TV remote through the screen. But he stayed silent, because those CIA agents' threats weren't empty. In 1968, Murray Leibowitz, Walter's partner that night, died in a car accident. His brakes failed on a steep hill. In 1975, a different ambulance driver who'd responded to celebrity deaths started talking to press. He had a heart attack at age 41. The message was clear: silence or die. But in December 2023, Walter was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave him 3 months, and dying men fear nothing. January 14, 2024. Cedars-Sinai Hospital, Los Angeles. Walter Schaefer, now 96 years old, lay in his hospital bed, surrounded by his family. His daughter, Patricia, held his hand. Dad, is there anything you want to say? Anything you need to get off your chest? Walter looked at his family, his wife of 64 years, his 3 children, his 7 grandchildren. Get me a camera, he whispered. I need to record something. Patricia set up her iPhone, pressed record. What followed was a 47-minute confession that would finally expose the truth about Marilyn Monroe's death. My name is Walter Schaefer. On August 5, 1962, I was the ambulance driver called to Marilyn Monroe's house, and I'm about to tell you what really happened that night. He detailed everything: the mysterious delay, the wrong address, the staged scene, the CIA threats, the photograph, the cover-up. But the most shocking revelation came at the end. Marilyn Monroe didn't die at 3:30 a.m. like they claim. Based on her body temperature and rigor mortis, she'd been dead since at least 10:30 p.m. the night before. That's 5 hours earlier. 5 hours during which someone cleaned the scene, removed evidence, staged the body, and created a false narrative. And I know who killed her. You won't believe the name Walter spoke next. Walter took a labored breath, his voice weakening. While I was in that bedroom, I heard voices in the hallway. Official voices. One man was giving orders. I recognized that voice because I'd heard it on television. It was Bobby Kennedy, Attorney General Bobby Kennedy. He was in Marilyn's house at 3:45 in the morning, directing the cover-up. Patricia gasped. Dad, are you sure? I'm certain. And there's more. One of the CIA agents called him Sir. They were taking orders from him. Bobby Kennedy didn't just cover up Marilyn's death. Based on what I heard, he ordered it. Walter explained what he'd overheard. Get the scene cleaned up before more people arrive. The story is accidental overdose. Anyone who questions it gets handled. We can't have her talking anymore. What was she going to talk about? Patricia asked. Walter closed his eyes. I heard Kennedy say, she threatened to go public about the president, about the affairs, about the secrets. She had to be stopped. The confession was devastating. Marilyn Monroe was murdered because she knew too much about the Kennedy brothers and threatened to expose them. But wait. Walter had one more piece of evidence to reveal. Walter told Patricia, "In my desk at home, bottom drawer, there's an envelope marked MM 1962. Inside is the photograph I took that night. The one that proves injection, not pills." Patricia rushed home and returned with the envelope. Inside was a faded Polaroid showing Marilyn's nightstand. And there, visible in the image, were the items Walter described: the drinking glass with liquid, and a syringe partially hidden behind the bed. "This proves she was injected with something," Walter said. The official autopsy found no needle marks, but they weren't looking in the right places. The injection was likely in her armpit or between her toes, places easily hidden. Patricia was crying now. "Dad, why didn't you come forward sooner?" "Because I was a coward. Because I was afraid. Because I chose my family's safety over justice for Marilyn." Walter's breathing became more labored. "But I'm dying now. They can't hurt me anymore. And the truth needs to be told. Marilyn Monroe was murdered by the Kennedy administration because she threatened to expose their secrets. And everyone who could have saved her, me included, chose silence instead." The recording ended. Walter Schaefer died 4 days later, on January 18th, 2024. When Patricia released her father's confession video online, it exploded. Within 24 hours, 15 million views. Major news networks picked it up. The LAPD reopened Marilyn's case as a suspicious death investigation. The FBI was forced to declassify documents about Marilyn's surveillance. And the photograph Walter took became the most important piece of evidence in proving Marilyn was murdered. Forensic experts analyzed the image. The syringe visible in this photograph was never documented in official crime scene photos. This suggests evidence was removed before official investigation. The liquid in the glass tested positive for barbiturates at levels consistent with injection, not ingestion. Walter Schaefer's testimony is corroborated by physical evidence. But the most shocking development came when 3 other witnesses came forward, emboldened by Walter's courage. February 2024. The floodgates opened. Witness number 2, the neighbor Timothy Walsh, now 84, who lived next door in 1962. "I saw Bobby Kennedy's car parked outside Marilyn's house at 10:12 p.m. on August 4th. I recognized it because of the government plates. He was there for hours. I heard raised voices. Around midnight, I saw men carrying something covered with a blanket to a different car. I always suspected it was Marilyn's body being moved." Witness number 3. The police officer, former LAPD officer Jack Clemens, who was first officer on scene. "When I arrived at 4:25 a.m., the scene was already contaminated. Dr. Greenson told me she'd been dead for less than an hour, but that was impossible. I wrote in my report, suspicious circumstances, but was ordered to change it to probable suicide. When I refused, I was removed from the case." Witness number 4. Marilyn's publicist, Patricia Newcomb, Marilyn's friend and publicist, gave a deathbed interview in 2023, released after Walter's confession. "Marilyn called me on August 4th, around 9:00 p.m. She was terrified. She said, 'Pat, Bobby's coming over. He's angry about something I said. I'm scared.' That was the last time I spoke to her." The pattern was clear. Multiple witnesses placing Bobby Kennedy at Marilyn's house the night she died, all silenced by fear for 6 decades. March 2024. After reviewing all new evidence, investigators reached a conclusion. Official finding: Marilyn Monroe died between 10:11 p.m. on August 4th, 1962. not at 3:30 a.m. on August 5th, as officially reported. Cause of death, injection of lethal barbiturate dose, not oral consumption. The ambulance delay was deliberate, allowing time to stage an accidental overdose scene. Key participants in the cover-up: Dr. Ralph Greenson, Eunice Murray, and persons connected to the Kennedy administration. The wrong ambulance wasn't wrong at all. It was perfectly timed, delayed just long enough to ensure Marilyn was dead. The scene was cleaned, and the narrative was established before any genuine first responders arrived. Walter Schaefer's 42-minute delay wasn't incompetence. It was orchestration. And the man who spent 62 years living with that guilt finally got his redemption in death. Today, Walter Schaefer is remembered not as the ambulance driver who arrived too late, but as the man brave enough to finally tell the truth. His photograph is now evidence in the reinvestigation of Marilyn Monroe's death. His testimony corroborates other witnesses who were too afraid to speak. And his confession has reopened one of Hollywood's greatest mysteries. Patricia Schaefer established the Walter Schaefer Truth Foundation, dedicated to protecting whistleblowers and encouraging witnesses to come forward in cold cases. My father lived 62 years with guilt because he was threatened into silence. No one should have to make that choice between truth and safety. The foundation has already helped break open 3 other cold cases involving powerful figures. Marilyn Monroe died 62 years ago, but justice delayed is not justice denied. Walter's confession has finally given her voice back. The shy girl from foster homes who became the world's biggest star didn't die because she was careless with pills. She died because she threatened powerful men, and they chose to silence her permanently. The ambulance that arrived too late was never meant to save her. It was meant to complete the cover-up. But one brave man kept receipts. One brave man held onto evidence. And one brave man, facing his own death, decided that truth mattered more than fear. Some truths take decades to emerge. Some witnesses need to die before they can speak freely. Some ambulances arrive exactly when they're supposed to, 42 minutes too late. Walter Schaefer's story teaches us, silence protects the guilty. Fear enables evil. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is tell the truth, even if it takes 62 years. Walter Schaefer, 1928-2024. He arrived too late to save her body, but just in time to save her truth. Marilyn Monroe, 1926-1962. They silenced her voice, but they couldn't kill her story. The ambulance wasn't wrong. The address wasn't wrong. The delay was an accident. Everything was precisely orchestrated to hide a murder. And for 62 years, it worked. Until one dying man decided conscience mattered more than consequences. What do you think? Was Walter Schaefer a coward for staying silent, or a hero for finally speaking? Should the Kennedy family face consequences for the cover-up? Share your thoughts below. And if you want to hear more hidden stories about Marilyn Monroe's final days, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because some truths are too important to stay buried forever. If you found this story shocking, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our next investigation into Marilyn Monroe's hidden truth.